I vividly remember the first time that I failed an exam. I was 11 years old and I was supposed to receive the results of my math test that day. I was anxious because although I had written the math test pretty well according to my own belief, I was still kind of anxious as to how I did in it. For a little bit of context, I've always done very well in academics. Um, that was probably the one thing that I was good at in school. I was a nerd growing up, so yeah, studying became a naturally strong aspect of myself, and it formed a strong aspect within my own identity. It was sixth grade, received my math exam results. I looked at the paper and it said 8 marks out of 20. I was baffled because usually I would score somewhere around 18, 19, 20 marks, etc. But this time I scored 8. Both my parents worked really hard as well. They studied extremely hard to become doctors, to give me the life that I live right now and the life that I used to live when I was younger. And I'm extremely grateful for that. I know the value of what studying did for them, what academics did for them, and I respect it. Growing up, I set the standard pretty high for myself. I was expected to achieve really high results. I was expected to do really well academically, and that put a lot of pressure on me. But I was hoping that just this one time, that because I failed, I wouldn't face a lot of negative consequences. I would just get told, hey, you've done really well hundreds of times. This is just one more. That's fine. Next time, we'll do better. I wish that was the case at that point, but it wasn't. I got back home, put my bag down, and I was really anxious to speak to my dad about it. I could tell that he had a rough day from work, and I didn't really want to bother him too much, so I kind of procrastinated telling him about these results. I know a lot of kids would usually like hide their marks and things from their parents, but I respected my parents too much and I was too grateful for them for me to lie or to hide anything. The education that I had, the school that I went to, everything was because of them. I felt like I at least owed them this, at least owed them honesty. Spent some time with my parents. We just sat together, spoke. I didn't really bring up this topic of failing the exam for quite a while, and 3 to 4 hours passed, and it was somewhere around 8:30 p.m. in the evening, and I needed to sleep pretty soon right after that. And I realized that this would be my last opportunity to talk to my parents about me failing. My dad was sat right beside me. I think he was reading an article or something like that, and I said, "Dad, I need to speak to you." And he said, "Yeah, what's up?" And I said, "Yeah, so I had a math exam today, and I scored 8 out of 20, which meant that I failed." It was a quarterly unit test that's conducted in our school, by the way. So this is a pretty important exam, I'd say. And yeah, I said I stuttered that I failed in this exam, and I was hoping that this one time, they could just tell me, "Hey, it's okay, it's fine. You've done really well. You've done exceptionally well hundreds of times. This is just one more time. It's okay." But I got quite the opposite. I got a massive barrage of insults and just got told a lot of things that were very demeaning to me. It brought me to tears to hear all of that come from someone that I respected so much, someone that I respect so much to date. I can't repeat a lot of the words that was told, because I'd like to keep it private, but hearing things like you're useless, you're not going to be fit for anything in life, you won't become anything in life, this is why, this one failure is why you won't become anything in life, hurts a lot for someone that is 10 years old or 11 years old. It was tough. From that point on, I made it a point to never fail anything after that. From that point on, I studied not with a sense of happiness, but with a sense of fear, the fear of failure. I studied with that. I know what it's like to feel academic pressure when you're really young. I know how hard it is to deal with it. It's led to so many breakdowns, so much anxiety, so many tears shed, so much work put in. All of that, I get it. And I know that if you're young, especially if you're brown like me, you face this academic pressure. You know how tough it is to deal with that in a household. You know that being a good academic achiever or being a poor academic achiever defines your identity and your self-worth in your family, in your life. When I was younger, I used to believe that. I used to believe that academics are everything, and without them, I am nothing. Without it, there is no identity for me. Since then, I've done very, very well in academics. I've passed and scored really good grades in a lot of the exams that I've taken in my life after that. But here's the current level of understanding that I have. Academics are one facet of life, not your entire identity. They do not determine your self-worth. And I'm saying this as someone that's done really well academically. It does not determine your self-worth. Yes, you should be working hard. Yes, you should be studying hard. Yes, you should be learning and focused on acquiring new knowledge. But do not put that academic pressure onto yourself. Do not carry that burden on your back and stress yourself out. Because like I said in the story, it doesn't take much to hurt someone that young. It doesn't take much to burden them with such a responsibility young. Here's what I want you to do moving forward. I don't want you to study with a sense of pressure or a sense of burden. I want you to start studying smarter. Academics are one aspect of life. Do not fear the negative consequences of not studying or not doing well academically. Just simply study smarter. Study smarter, better, with less stress. This is what I want you to do. I want you to use smarter study techniques like the 80-20 rule, which states that 20% of the content that you read will serve you around 80% of the dividends in the exam, which is fair. So you need to identify the important pieces of content. And I want you to use Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law states that the work you choose to do will fill the time that you allot it. So if you allot something a much shorter period of time, you will get it done within that time because humans work better on deadlines. Use these two principles. Apply them onto your own studies and academics. And journal regularly about the pressure that you're facing, this academic pressure, and understand how much of it is self-inflicted and how much of it is reality. Understand that it's always worse in our brains than it is in reality. How much of that is you putting that burden onto yourself, and how much of it is actually being put on you? I know it's extremely hard, and you feel very alone if you're watching this video and you're still in school or college or facing this academic pressure. Understand that pressure is a constant thing. This academic pressure doesn't go away the second you walk out of college or finish school, because then it transfers into career progress pressure, and pressure is something that is being put on you from society. But I don't want you to shrivel from that pressure. If you're watching this video, you're different. You're not going to succumb to that pressure, and I'll ensure that you won't. Trust me. Pressure is mostly self-inflicted. Let's deal with that. Use these principles. Good luck.